Well, let's call the meeting to order. Do we have any folks who are joining us from outside the committees or outside our usual guests? Do we have any community guests, I guess I'll say?
One just passed through the screen.
Yep, just the cat.
Does the cat have anything to say? Anything to add?
Not at the moment. If she did, she'll let us know. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. So right now there's no open time, no guests. I'm just going to jump right to the agenda, and we'll certainly have room at the end for additional agenda items. But our upcoming community review, which is, my God, folks, it's, 9 days away? Palpitations. I had some feedback I can give folks. I'm a little bit frustrated because the PDF file that was sent to me from Ken was also, for me, it appeared corrupted. Now, I don't know, I have a Mac, but I do have Acrobat. So I sent out an email on the 3rd of September saying, does anyone else having this problem? Does anyone have any way to convert? I didn't get a response. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
he emailed you back and he said it was working fine when he downloaded it straight from the Google Drive.
Right.
I guess I didn't have a problem, so I should have just confirmed that. So
Yeah,
it worked fine for me.
So it's me, which is all right. So what I did was simply forward to Tammy and to
Randall.
I sent it to Mr. Kemp, yes.
Okay.
And Ms. Walunas, Tammy and Randall. I haven't heard back yet from Randall. Tammy emailed me back and said if it could be a photo, it would work much better.
Yeah, Jim, I was going to say.
Does she mean a JPEG file or?
Yeah, JPEG. Or I think the other format that Ken sent, he sent us 2 formats.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other format would work better.
Okay.
Because
right.
I know that all you get is the title and like the name of the document. You don't get anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But when Randall, I saw it on the Southampton town page and it was fine.
Okay, that got up. Good.
So so they're both posted. One on the community page, you don't really see anything but like a PDF with the title. And you sent the same file to Randall?
I did. I forwarded the same, email. So I'm looking at Ken's emails he sent that have attachments. And I only have one attachment.
Here's one. All right, I found it. Wait, is that the earlier one? Let me see if that's one he updated. Yep. Okay, here we go. I'm going to forward this to you again.
Okay.
I see the one that has a PNG as a form rather than a JPEG, which works the same. All right, so I'll send that straight to Jim.
If you have a PNG, that'd be
in a
JPEG. That gives me.
I'm going to make a new title or subject so you can actually find it. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, make sure it's still attached there. Oh my God, there's so many other old attachments in here too. Okay.
Is that on the Google Drive?
Yes, it's there. Okay, sending.
Because I did take a picture and send it to Robert Floyd because he requires the JPEG file. So it's never quite as nice as the original document, but it's I do the best I can to crop it. But it's not a live file then, so you can't click on it and do anything with it. But I did register. I did test out the Gmail or the tiny URL to see if I could.
I saw that. We have 5 people.
Okay.
All
We
right.
have 5 people who have signed up so far. One of them is Janet, and one of them is possibly Dan. Let's see.
So that was one of the things, Jim, after, and I'm sorry, I should have gotten back to you. I signed up for the reminder email and that worked fine. So.
All right. I appreciate you testing those things. Okay, Sarah, I see the file. It arrived.
Yay.
Okay.
One other thing, I noticed on the
Thank you.
town website, the event page, it has like the link to all the details, but the details aren't like right there. I don't know if there's any way to make it easier to find all the information when you click on the, because it says see attachment, which you have to like, you have to copy and paste the URL in there to get to the attachment. I don't know how this works, if there's any way to make it
Are you
like,
talking about the My Town Gov one?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I did it. So I figured after today, if there was feedback. So I did attach the actual document. I can copy the links into it if that's,
Yeah, I think we might need to do that as well, just
Okay.
because it
Yeah.
took me a minute to like find it.
yeah, no, really?
Yeah, but it was also the first time I've actually used that. I've always get our meetings through our emails, so this was also my first time using the website. But if anyone else is like me and slightly confused, then
Yeah, no,
This will
no, I mean, I'm not saying you're unusual. I'm just saying,
I might be.
well, you might be, but I'm not gonna go there. I'm
Mhm.
recorded, so I'm
Okay.
just gonna look at it myself real quick on my, well, I know it still doesn't work on the phone, so.
So we're having some technological barriers to getting this out there more broadly. Are there other, but we seem to be surmounting them. Are there other tech areas as far as the publicizing side of this?
I have some
Or other
positive things to
barriers?
share.
Oh, we'll take positive things. Can we hold on positive for just
Yeah.
a minute? I just want to make sure we don't have any other I'll
So
call them
Sierra-
barriers. I won't call them negative. I'll say they're barriers toward that prevent positive, and we're going to succumb those barriers. But yes.
Sierra, did you try so I did copy and paste the actual reminder link into the body. Did you see that or did you go? on
Yes, that
before?
was how I found it. But it just
Okay,
because it doesn't turn it into like an actual clickable link, you have to copy and paste it. I just don't know if everyone's like on it enough to take that trouble.
so let me just, yeah, I mean, it's a good point and I can try to paste it in, but it does show the attachment right below. I'm just, hold on one second, I'm sorry. Because I guess I need to know the best way to do this. If I could get your feedback, everybody's. Let me just go down there.
Are
And then
you
I'm
sharing a screen or?
I'm going to in a second. I just wanted
Awesome.
to get the screen, get up on the screen first and then. So to get feedback. So
Okay.
the document is right
So this
here.
is the page where everything is. But before this, if you just go straight to, oh,
The
I know
town.
what it is. I'm on townofsouthampton.org.
Oh, that's why I said, are you on My Town Gov? You're
No,
on-
sorry, it's not that. It's townofsouthampton.org.
Okay, all right.
I
Okay,
see.
I think they take this information because this is where I posted it.
Hmm.
Yes, so they have like a little summary, and then they link to this page. But in order to get to this page, you have to copy and paste the link in.
Right, so would there be a way in that summary to either have the direct Zoom link or have the attachment right there? I mean, ideally, where it says like, see attachment for Zoom login details here on the town of Southampton, I'm looking at my other screen, we could have the Zoom link right there, just less clicks, right? I mean, I think Sarah.
I don't know who,
It does have the tiny URL in there, so that's good for the reminders.
yeah, they just take it because I posted on the My Town Gov and it usually feeds the other site. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the other site so I can
You want me to send the link here?
like, I'm going right there. Because I want to see how bad it looks.
It's not terrible.
Because it's driven from My Town Gov, so. All right, let me just, can I share this again and we can see the challenges here. So I don't even, shame on me, I don't even look at the site, but I guess probably a lot of people do. So see, here's your town of Southampton.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Hey. Well, that's good. We at least have that on there. That's awesome.
So do you go to the calendar?
Yeah, I went to view calendar under that. Yeah, right there.
And then we go to the 22nd. If you have visuals like,
Mhm.
hey, children. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear them in the background.
I did.
They were,
Hissing.
yes, they were hissing. Okay. Let me see, what did I just do now? So you come into here, is that what you're saying?
And mine doesn't have the flyer underneath it like yours does on Facebook feed. So maybe that's just a caching issue with my browser.
Maybe, because when I,
Sorry.
so the 22nd there's an open space meeting and the housing authority. So when I click on the housing authority, this is all okay. Comes up here.
Yeah, so then if you copy and paste that link, you can get to the My Town Gov page.
So when you go to calendar feed,
As opposed to view calendar.
no, that doesn't do it. Okay. Nope.
It took me a little bit the first time I was looking for a planning board meeting, like a year
Yeah.
ago when I was going to sit in on them, to figure out how to get from the town website to the My Town Gov website. Like it took me like longer than it should have. Like not forever, but a bit.
It's not a nice, easy transition.
You
Right.
guys should complain to that technology committee. They need to get their act together.
I don't think they're in charge of this
I don't
website.
think they do the web design, sadly.
I'm joking because I'm on it.
Oh, you're on it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
and updating the website's one of our.
So they didn't, I'll ask them if they can add the actual link. But this isn't even a live link here.
Yeah, they're not clickable. I don't think they probably can't do anything about whether it's live link, but they could at least put the URL for the Zoom meeting in case someone only goes here and doesn't come to
That's because it's driven by the My Town Gov drives this. So
Yeah.
I'll add it to the My.
Oh, right. And it will just copy over. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, to the summary or whatever it is.
yeah. Before the reminder, whatever. But I mean, it's great that this is here, and I'm wondering if we can also have it posted up in this area too. So that they come to this page, instead of going to the calendar, they can just find this document without being on Facebook, this one.
Yeah, you'd think at least like for the couple days before. So if that day, you go to look for it, it's right there.
Right at the top. So I'll check, Jim, if you're okay, I can check with Lucy and see if we can take the
I'm absolutely good with
PNG
that.
doc and see if we can just post it right on the first page, okay? Does that make sense?
Please.
Okay.
So another question in terms of document availability, I didn't see anything from Ken on the presentation for the community meeting yet. Did I miss that or?
I didn't see anything.
Okay. I didn't know when I know we were going to sit it to take a look at some point. He had said, but
Yeah, I thought hopefully before the 21st, right, or something.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I may see if I'll get in touch with the open space group, because that's kind of an important group to be part of this discussion, and they have a meeting scheduled. So I'll touch base with Cindy Palmer and see if there's a way to not have that conflict.
Mm.
Wait, there's an open space scheduled for when? For
It was on the calendar I just looked at.
Yeah, they say it's at 10 a.m. I don't know. Do
Oh,
they
it is? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
10
I didn't
a.m.
see the time. Okay.
That will be a very long meeting if it conflicts.
Yeah.
wait, I'm gonna look.
Yeah, it
A
does say
school
10
committee
a.m.
meeting.
Okay. Yeah, it says 10 a.m., so we should be okay.
Okay.
I'm surprised they're having a 10 a.m., but
It might be have to do with the Kestrel thing that's going on.
yeah, maybe. Okay. Gotcha. Okay,
So
that's-
before we move to positive, I'm sorry, Janet, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think out loud sometimes. So I said, I'll get to Lucy about posting the flyer.
Also, can I just confirm 9:23 meeting, right? Correct.
9:22.
9:22.
9:22.
9:22. Why do I keep thinking it's 9:23?
I think
9:22.
originally it was 9:23.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not mistaken.
That is not the same night as the Democratic
No,
Committee
that's why
meeting.
we had to change it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you.
It's an
That was a
important
concern that was
clarification.
brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So before we move to positive feedback and whatnot, I just want to make sure. So that's a good consideration. Are there any conflicts? Are there any other issues, barriers that we can try to address right now that people are aware of, people are seeing? Oh, come on.
I think we hit a lot of them already.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to mind trouble that's not there, but Sierra, you had some positive news you wanted to share, please.
Okay, so I talked to the Lions Club. They put it on their sign.
Saw
I
that.
just-
That's great.
I just
Yeah.
put it up. Rob and I just put it up on the Mothers Club as well today.
Ooh.
Good.
That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I had no idea what I was getting into. It was my first time doing a sign, and I feel very confident in it now. And I went to my first community preservation committee.
Mhm.
Is that what it's called? I went to my first, CPC meeting, and I told them all about it, and they're really excited. They're really excited that we're like doing stuff, and they're like, "Yes, we want you to spend our money. Come on, let's do this." And so I told them all to save the date. I sent the info over to Kate at the Board of Health, and she sent it to all of her friends on the Board of Health. So, getting the word out.
That's
Great.
awesome.
Yep. And I did
Oh,
the
and
same with the COA
Okay.
board, and I sent it out to my list of a large group of people that we know in Southampton. So I sent it with that kind of broken down with the 2 links in the email. So
I spoke with Lindsay Sabdosa and I sent her the flyer as well. So hopefully she can make it.
That's great. It's great. Good.
and the
Good.
COA has 2 flyers. So
I posted at Town Hall, the library, and the post office
great.
All right.
up there.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
And
Good.
you know that the bylaws is having a public meeting the day before, the night before. So
Saw that.
back to back
Hmm.
community meeting sort of. So
That's important stuff too.
yeah, but it's just a lot. I'm sorry that it's back to back, but
Hmm. Right. Right. Okay. Other positive comments or feedback before we move on? Okay. All right. Ooh, I just lost my agenda. What happened?
Well, I think we missed approving the minutes.
Yes, we did.
We got too excited about our
We
meeting.
did.
and I don't
There's
know.
nothing wrong with enthusiasm.
The folks have to remain on their, the other 2 planning board people unless they are thinking of also joining our committee. That would be great.
Yes.
Oh, we did. I do want to bring up something. Dana and I have talked about this.
Uh-oh.
In regards to planning board. In regards to planning board and housing authority, and the review of the bylaws. And looking at trying to get some kind of funding, whether federal or state, to provide more of a comprehensive resource to look over our planning board bylaws that would incorporate more of participation from housing authority and open space and conservation commission, so that it's not just planning board reviewing the bylaws, and we're getting much more input. So we're actually implementing what we want from the housing production plan and the master plan and so forth. So that is something that we're on the lookout for grants and funding, and something that I was hoping to bring up at the last planning board meeting, but it was canceled. And so hopefully we'll bring it up at the next planning board meeting. But just to get a sense of, if I know Ken brought it up at the meetings, how important bylaws are and zoning is. And it's something that the planning board is actively trying to get done. So And I was listening to the webinar just before this meeting, and how important it is to be able to have the permitting in place already. So we just wanted to bring that to your attention. So we've definitely been looking at grants and anything that comes up. Maybe this is also something that we bring to the grant committee too, but we want Housing Authority involved to know in regards to overviewing these bylaws, because they're going to be really, really important.
Yeah, so that's awesome, Joy. That's after we had talked last time. I had looked at the bylaws that we'd already done as well, and the big one that we'd already, well, I wasn't on the board. I don't think, Dan, you were either at the time.
No.
The use regulations have already been gone through once, but the only changes that were made were really whether it's the planning board reviewing it, or who else is it? The zoning board of appeals, it's some changes like that, but there weren't any real changes made. And so when I had gotten on the planning board, I know some of these have been looked at, and the idea was that they want the book closed on them to some degree, but I was going to bring that up Wednesday when we have a planning board meeting, because we do have the new consultant who we're potentially hiring coming Wednesday. And I'm not sure, I'm not super experienced in terms of like what his purview is and what grant money would be needed in addition to expand his review beyond like just cleaning them up. But spending some more time with them, which I was kind of overdue for, to be honest, it's a lot of just cleaning it up, like in terms of...
There's nothing, I reviewed them, and there's nothing like that stands that like, ooh, they're really trying to do this here, and they're really like, there are things that I'm like, why can't, things that like we would want Housing Authority to just double check and be like, oh, or Ken to things that another resource who really has it in mind what we can do with it for Housing Authority, looking over them and be like, you can giving us ideas, because there's nothing there that's nuanced, that's new and improved. Really, it just seems like, as you're saying, they're cleaning them up.
Yeah, I agree, because I had questions, even things like the multifamily dwelling. Why can't we have multifamily dwellings in rural residential?
Yeah,
I don't know. We can't, but per our bylaws. But why not?
But per our bylaws. Yeah, exactly. So it's something that I just want to let the Housing Authority know that I think there's going to be a voice at planning board in regards to reviewing these bylaws, and hopefully more participation. Dan? Thoughts?
Yeah, I obviously agree with you, and I'm happy to hear that Sarah had already kind of arrived at similar conclusions that we had, and had conversations about in terms of the bylaws. I know that it is the goal. It has been the goal for many years of the planning board to update the bylaws, and they have, I would say, I don't know why it's taken so long. I don't know the history of that because I wasn't involved. I have found one grant that we would have need to applied in June, but it's like a $50,000-$80,000 grant for updating your town's bylaws or planning board bylaws. It's like, oh, this is a perfect grant. So I'm sure there's other opportunities, other funding sources. This is really a planning board conversation, I think, in terms of what we want to do with this potential new advisor, what role he would play, what we want to do with our bylaws in general in terms of updating them to ensure that they meet the needs of the master plan, the open space and recreation plan, the HPP. I don't know what acronyms do. I'm forgetting, but really, I think that should be there's a larger goal than just cleaning up the bylaws, and that's on the planning board shoulders, as it should be. So it'll be a fun conversation. We'll see how it goes. It'll be great.
Great conversation.
Love it.
Does the planning board need any support from the Housing Authority?
I think opinions. I mean, I think at a minimum, like input.
Yeah,
I do.
I
I think you're completely correct. I think first we have to What's the right word? We have to soften the target. Let us soften the target first, and then once that is done, I think it'll be easier to bring up harder concepts like having other groups providing input and whatnot. So,
Well, I think the housing production plan, once that's finished too, will help define a lot about what it is we as a housing authority and you folks that are representing the planning board really need to do to make this a reality versus a document. So
that was my other question in terms of the housing production plan, and this may be a question for Ken next week, but how specific do we want to get in terms of some of these use regulations for multifamily dwellings, cluster development, I don't know, different things like that in terms of things that we put in the housing production plan as things we hope. We have a lot of power, it seems like right now, as to what we put in the housing production plan. We can, if we all agree, it seems like it can go in there as long as it's reasonable. So how specific do we want to get with regards to then changes for these bylaws?
because I mean, we have goals and strategies in the production plan, right? The bylaws will then have to change to try to help us achieve those. Right. I mean, like Jim always talks about an overlay district, and probably the last thing at the webinar last week, they talked about Cambridge and what a great overlay district they have and a great concept. And so I need to dig into that a little bit more and understand why that is so successful.
But they also like complimented Western Mass about the wonderful things they've done out here, especially like with regionalizing things or towns partnering with each other and land and acquiring, like there's a lot more land out here to work with. So I think there's a lot more opportunity to be inventive with what we do out here too. So that was good to hear.
Because there were a lot of questions. What do small towns do? What do small towns do? So
What do we do? And also like a lot of it is politics. Like, well, we like, and I think that that webinar actually was really helpful with how to handle even this upcoming community meeting that we have. And, you know, how we handle questions and being proactive with like the negativity and, you know, dealing with it head on. And that's all I have.
No, this is a side topic, but you know, my hometown is Williamstown, and they have some lovely elderly housing facilities. And at one point, my mom was living in one of them, and it's just really, it's nice because it built a sense of community for her right after my father died. So she moved into this area, and it was like a 2-level story, and everybody got their own little apartment, and she made friends and had that community. And I like, if a town like Williamstown can do it, Southampton surely can.
I think another thing we need to emphasize is if we're going to talk about increasing the number of housing units on all price points, but the more, I like to use the term, because affordable housing can, you know, mean something to some folks, but if you talk about starter homes, for example, it gives people options. And I think a lot of times when you look at like restrictions on, you know, dividing a single home into two, it's this sense of it's going to compromise the rural character. But what you're really doing is you're allowing, for example, an elderly couple, for example, to stay in their home by dividing it up and maybe renting it out another part, or to put a tiny house in the backyard and stay there and rent out the house. And so what you're creating is community, to your point, I feel, Dan. And you're giving the opportunity, you know, as a small town, we should be about community, and you're giving the opportunity to create community for all its members.
Again, as an aside, one of the things I'm always jealous of is when I visit, I'd say like European towns, is like you can walk to places. You can walk to the grocery store. You can walk to the restaurant. You don't necessarily need a car to go everywhere. You can have your little world and not necessarily need an automobile to get around. But that's completely an aside. But I was talking about that today for work.
That's when they talk about concepts like infill. They're trying to promote that, walkable spaces. Yeah. But we digress.
Yeah, I mean, I encourage it if you get a chance to watch the webinar. It was just, informative, and it really confirmed for me that the town administrator, the select board, it's really got to be driven by the leadership of the town to make changes. And I think we've always, perception is that this housing authority has always tried to push the boulder up the hill by themselves. And I think it's really should be from the top. I'm not a big top-down person, but I think they have to set a direction in town besides the master plan and besides the housing production plan as a leadership of the town. What is how do they, where do they stand on affordable housing and housing insecurity as a whole? So,
right. I think we're in good position, in my opinion, based on the profile of who's leading the town. So it's about us. I think our role is, from a bottom-up perspective, is to give them the tools they need and the guidance to provide that leadership and to support that.
We also just need to be having the conversation more often. The leadership, we do. And that just means bringing it up and really pushing it. So
seeing the priorities that the town sets, I don't often see that affordable housing makes the top 10 when I listen to the select board and stuff. And it may be, but there's so many items that it's just, I think it's just hard to squeeze one more thing in, but that's the only way we're going to be successful, I think.
Have you ever approached them with like a shovel-ready project? It's been like...
we discussed they did discuss that in the webinar for having to have like a parcel ready to go that we had in mind. But I don't know if the housing authorities ever had like a piece of land or property that they were ready to go on.
Well, this is, again, a chicken and the egg, in my opinion. Without a housing trust, you can't, in my opinion, do that. So, we need that housing trust in place. We've got funds for it. We can put money there. We just need the trust. And then you can look at acquiring land.
Right. Yeah. And we have town land, but nobody's said yes or no that it could be used for that. And again, it goes back, I think the select board has to be the leader as well with the housing trust. And that's why it's really great that Joy is our liaison, because we have been without that link. I think Rini attended a couple years back, but really good to have an appointed liaison. So I appreciate Joy being here.
Well said.
Yeah, I think the connection between the boards is important. Like, Joy, it's nice that you're on this one and the planning board, just in terms of a connection.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm going to
Sarah
echo that, not only on this board, but active and attending. Joy,
yes.
Thank you. Yes. So I just, our planning board members, we're going to continue with our meeting, and you're welcome to stay. I think we should jump to Sierra's point, jump back to approval of minutes if no one has any objections.
Excuse me.
Did everyone get a chance to read the minutes?
You mean,
I think I'll just stick around as a fly on the wall. How about that? Is that okay?
That's all.
Okay.
Yes, you and the public
I
are
might do
welcome.
the same for a bit. Thanks.
Sure. So to Janet and Sierra, did you have well, Janet, you obviously read the minutes. I did. Sierra, did you get a chance to look at them?
Yes, I move to approve them as is.
I'll second that. Excuse me.
Okay. Let's have a voice vote then, please. All in favor?
Simmons, aye.
Kane, I.
Sini, aye. Well done. Okay. Next agenda item, Housing Assistance Program, the CARES Act. Again, not getting a lot of activity there. But, things are getting hot out there with the Delta variant, and we have to the end of December.
Also the moratorium on evictions.
Yep.
Yep. And
Yes.
unemployment is
Unemployment just ended.
Ended
So
on
I-
Labor Day of all ironies.
Yeah. So Joy and I had a little conversation. I reposted the flyer on the community page because I feel like we need to relaunch it and then
Mhm.
talk to Joy about maybe visiting all the different rental properties in town and seeing if there's a bulletin board and we could post it and let people know that it's there is a thought. Joy was going to make some copies, right?
Yeah, I have the copies ready to go. I just haven't had a chance. Actually, I put it on my calendar specifically tomorrow morning to go to a rental places. I don't know, wherever there might be like a manager's office, or put it on the board if there's a bulletin board or common room, or put it out. We can put it out certain places where there's bulletin boards, post office, etc.
When I was at the community preservation meeting, Rini asked if we had connected with the church. I think that she meant the one that's by the town hall. Have we
Yeah.
gotten in with them to make sure that they're telling their people about it?
Yeah, I think flyers were delivered to the church.
Mhm.
So they were informed about it, but it probably have a revisit maybe because it's been 4
That
months.
was in the spring or
Right,
whatever.
it's been a while.
Yeah, maybe we should renew it and just be like, hey, this is still a thing. Now that people might need it in the next few months.
I don't mind reaching out to, I'm aware of 2 churches in town, and just reinforcing that message and sending the flyer again.
Do they post it in their little bulletin that they give, their little booklet?
I don't know.
So that's something that we can reach out to the pastor and ask them to add.
Certainly ask them, yeah.
The new church in town certainly has a full packed parking lot, so.
Yeah, both churches. I don't mean to discriminate.
No,
I've
but
only
I don't
been to
think
the South
They're
Regional,
much
but yeah,
Zoom, they're zooming from the congregation, I think, but certainly.
Maybe they send out some kind of like
Yeah.
email
There's a
packet.
newsletter
Yeah.
and stuff too, an email newsletter or something.
yeah, I can reach out. I can reach out to both of them and just ask them to advertise that with their communities.
Well, now that I'm such a pro with the letter signs, if we want to go back to them after this week is up, let me know. We can do that. It's really fun.
I've been there, I've done that. Thank you for doing it, Sierra.
Next stop, movie theater owner.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't post it in, big letters anywhere, I think the first time through. So maybe we can after we have multiple things going on at one time. So yeah, after the.
Yeah, maybe in like October or something.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm sorry, I don't recall. Does it say on the black, these funds go away at the end of the year? So
Yeah, like this is your chance.
End of the calendar year.
yeah, last chance, red flashing, use this. Yeah.
Good call. Good.
And what's the person called? It would be almoner. Is that the right person?
Yeah, but that's a
Not the
different,
almoner.
that's a different,
It's a different program, but that's still an option.
Just to make sure that they're aware of it, fitting those people.
yeah, Cindy's aware of it, I'm pretty sure, but their funding doesn't, I mean, if they want to direct somebody to the flyer, yes, absolutely.
Good. Okay. Member recruitment actions.
Wasn't
Well-
there a list and we were supposed to go through lists?
Yes.
Yes,
We were
I could not find the list.
I will share it with you. I think
Is
I
it in
really.
Google Drive? I found the stuff from Ken in there, but I didn't.
It's a
Yeah,
different
it's in a different one.
I think
Okay.
I kind of fogged on that with everything else, and I just sent you a request to share it with me.
I received that, and yeah, I can see it's not shared with you, Joy. It's in my Google Drive. So
Okay.
let me find you here, and I'll add you.
Apologies for that. And I still think, I know Dan's on a number of committees, so I'm pushing for Sarah to join the Housing Authority, but we'll give her one committee at a time, right, Sarah?
I don't want to commit to something I can't.
No.
I can't do.
He's been a good voice, I think, as well. So that's all.
I will say it this way: our role on the planning board is here to help you in execution of the housing authority's new rules. I think that you guys getting some fresh blood, different people involved would be more beneficial than having us who are already here to support and help you.
Well, that's a short-term plan, Dan.
Okay, fine.
Right? Yeah.
My support and love
I
doesn't
appreciate
end.
the support, but it's not a 3-year. No, I definitely, that's why you both have added a lot, in my opinion, to our discussion. So.
Well, I worked a little bit more on the memo thing I was doing. I was thinking I might want to dress it up in like Canva or something before it's done, but I took all your changes. I don't know if you guys want to see it. Maybe I'll make it prettier before I send it, but I think I'll try to send it over to you guys this week so you can see if it looks good.
Okay.
So one more thing. Oh, and I asked Virginia if we could use CPA funds for member recruitment, and she was like, no. She was like, if I give that to you guys, I'd have to do that for everyone who needs to recruit.
Yeah, but we have CPA funds. They're called housing.
I know, but I guess we can't do it for our own. It's too admin, I guess. I don't know. And I tried to ask Lucy about whether there was like petty cash, and she didn't get back to me, which I'm guessing is a no. I had it on my list to also ask Ed, but I don't want to like go ask Ed if Lucy didn't answer and then have her be like, why are you trying to get around me? So I figured I'm figuring it's probably a no-go on the petty cash.
What do you need? How much money? What do you
You're
need?
trying to get cash from CPC? Is that what you're saying?
We were just talking about if we were going to, when we were considering mailing out a memo to people, we were talking about how we were going to pay for postage and stuff. And so we considered CPA funding and those other areas. But, I also said, like, I'll find places to print it and I can pay for a little postage. And I think that is when we said, well, before we do a mass mailing, let's look at it individually and like individually target people. So the money is not really a big issue yet. It's sort of like next step.
Yeah, and
I just want to know what CPC said no. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
CPC?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said because it was for admin purposes?
No, it didn't really specify. She was just like, no. She just said, no, a lot of people don't have enough members, and that's not something that we spend that on.
Yeah, it's more recruitment of members for the board than admin type of thing. So
yeah, she didn't use the term admin. That was just me trying to explain the thing I was thinking.
So, I mean, I think if we talked about, I think Jim even said, let's try to get it down to 10 to 15 people that we would target. And I mean, I can buy 10 to 15 stamps without a problem to donate. So I could do that.
And if we do end up thinking of individual people, it may be someone you already know and you can just call them, if you're observed. So maybe, but if we do decide that there's not enough individuals that are promising and it doesn't get us anywhere, and we do want to start sending things out based on, the occupation like we were looking at last time, then yeah, we can pick like a target number, see how much we want to send. Maybe anyone who wants to can help share the costs. It's really not much. And we can work that.
Yeah. I mean, even if we do 10 to 15 for the first mailing, and then if, depending on the reaction, pick the next 10 to 15 instead of doing one massive.
Right, take a tiered approach.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So do we have a next step here? Do we have a dozen or so identified, or?
I think the next step is maybe we shoot for next meeting. Y'all who are have been in town government for a while and know all the people, like Janet and Jim, check out the list and see if you have any people that jump out at you. And I will finish and send this little flyer I'm making. So I'd say that would be the next thing.
Yeah. Folks
Yeah.
agreeable to that? It makes sense.
Yeah, I'll take a closer look at the list. I'm going to try to find people that aren't on a zillion committees already.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to kind of go just the opposite. I agree with Janet. Just like, oh my God.
Send me the skill set. I'll get you some people.
Yeah.
Well,
Skill set is like caring and showing up.
Like maybe like house building. I don't know.
If they have a lot of really close friends in the housing development area, we could use them as well.
yeah, we'll take a look at our list first, Dan, and then.
You know what was good? Like I mentioned, my mom lived in one of the senior housing things. She actually joined the housing authority as one of the people who lived in there, representing those people. She obviously cared because, well, she lived there. So
Right. People affected by this are great targets.
Target may not be the best word. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, that's why I got involved, Dan, because I'm the chair of the COA. So I try to represent that population as well. Since we don't have any senior housing in town, but there are enough number of people that I think are passionate about it. So we just have to find them and convince them. So.
Okay. Next on the agenda, I'm sorry, it could just carry over from last time, my error, but is it housing trusts, next steps?
Yeah, I think we just this is an ongoing item, right, Jim? So some things never come off. But I mean, next step, we talked to Ken. I guess I wanted to get, my thought was to get your thoughts after you asked him the question about the.
Yeah. Right. Well, I asked the question at our last meeting, and it sounded to me that it was definitely part of what we can expect from this contract or whatever. But if there's anything we can do as a committee, I think to your point, Janet, while simultaneous or I don't know, other than continuing to Joy's point, to talk it up with the select board, how we really need the select board. There's specific members that need to be on this housing trust. It's not a housing authority purview, really. And I don't know if that's with intent, separation kind of, or it's just where the decision making is, and that's why it needs to be more with the town administrator and the select board.
And I will be honest with you, I need to research housing trusts more. I know of them, but I've never dealt into them. So that is on me to learn more about, so I can represent that better to the select board to get them on board.
I have a really good document that I will share with you now that I'm sharing things in my Google Drive. That's like a great summary about housing trusts.
Great. And it's funny because I kind of had a different impression from Ken. Response. I thought he said he could definitely kind of help us with that, but I didn't get a sense that it was going to be an end result. So I don't know what Sierra, maybe you want to be the tiebreaker, Sierra, because maybe I misunderstood him totally. So that's.
I was so convinced when Jim said it. I was like, I guess I heard that wrong. What I thought he said was like, yes, that will be part of the plan, but if you want to delve further into it, you may need to get another DLTA grant of some kind to do that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like covered, but not
deeply in dived into.
Do you have the contract or the grant language? Is it something we can review?
Well, yeah. When you see the housing production plan, it's maybe one of the goals and strategies, but I don't think it's
right.
Okay.
An end result. So.
Right. It's like nuance. I don't think you're right, Janet. I don't think it's a focus of the housing production plan. The housing production plan is, but the housing trust is part of that.
Well, just as much as it was on the 2010, which was a goal and strategy that's never transpired. So I guess I think what we want to do and what the plan will do are, I mean, it'll list it again as a goal and strategy, but that was one of the first, I think, on the last one, and it just never,
Yeah.
I don't know how much attention was given to it because we weren't there then.
We weren't, and I don't know that they had a consultant then either. So I felt it was going to give a little more attention than just be listed in the housing production plan as something that's needed. But to your point, we don't want to rely just on Ken on this. What homework can we do? What actions can we take? Again, I'm not a big fan of parallel play if we're going to cover this with Ken. My sense from him is, the housing trust is important. You want to get it going soon, but I felt that he might be able to provide some guidance that might help us a little bit.
I guess it's the us that's not, because the housing trust isn't a housing authority. I guess, again, good that Joy's here and the planning board folks are here because it's not, as you said, Jim, a purview of the housing authority. It's a kind of a separate issue. So I think it'll be, give Joy some time to review the document. I'm sure Sierra's sharing a document that maybe Brian gave us or something similar to that when Brian was on.
Yeah, one of the ones that was sent from those awesome mass housing people that
Okay.
did those little presentations for us.
Yeah, did you see Shelley's presentation, Joy, or was that before you were on board? I think that might have been before you were.
No, I did not see it, unfortunately.
So good. Yeah, that'll be. So once we can get get a select board member to really be, and I think they're all committed to doing it. I think they like the presentation. They see the value of not having the money just tied up in CPC, but have it available to the town.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that doesn't, they have to create a trust, a group, organization. Is the trust is the money or is the trust is the group?
It's both, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe,
So
I guess the question is, can we give them some more guidance rather than, create a trust, and that's the $60,000 question in my mind is Ken going to provide us with some, guidance on how you might do this? And is it worth waiting and tapping his knowledge, or should we just proceed? Doing that research ourselves and providing those kind of goalposts and also those boundaries for the select board. That's how I see it anyway.
I mean, I didn't hear after Shelley did that wonderful presentation to the select board, I didn't see any next steps come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's, I think it was well received. I just, and then maybe we wait and let Ken, we've waited for years, so a few more months to see what Ken can, recommend, or for Joy to kind of get more deeper education on a housing trust, or even, I'm sure Shelley would even talk to Joy if she wanted to speak to her directly. But I guess I just always want to have it on the agenda as one of those reoccurring items if we can, so it never.
I'm with you. We don't want to forget it.
Right.
And so to keep it there,
No.
I agree with you. Let's
It
keep
looks
it.
like, there can be no affordable housing without this housing trust anyways. It's
Right.
a major aspects that needs to be, it's a board of trustees. So it's kind of, and then they dictate kind of where the money goes, whereas the housing authority dictates more like the rules and governance of the housing, Okay, yeah.
Can I throw a curveball at you?
No.
No
No.
curveballs allowed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So earlier, maybe half an hour ago, you mentioned the concepts of regional organizations and regional approaches to things. Have you thought about the concept of a regional housing trust, and would that give you more potential than a town-based housing trust? Curveball.
So my gut reaction is, do we want to give other people the money that we have already, or who's going to give us their money to? Yeah, I think a regional.
Yeah, I think it's. I
trust
don't
is
think
really
that was
hard.
suggested as an option by any of the people who are talking about this, because I think it's based on your town's funds and your town makes the decisions about it.
I was just hoping that it would get you to a maybe state level of financing versus a town level of financing for these types of things.
Well, you can also get state funds for your housing trust. Once you have the trust, you can get grants specifically for that from the state. But
Get
it
donations.
does funnel some municipal funds into it.
Okay, swing and a miss.
And then it's all
Always
about-
worth asking.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the only instance where I would see that potentially happening is if we had a plan, like we already identified a parcel that was attached to another town, like a large parcel that we're like, okay, we need to team up on this scenario. But I mean, that's also something bringing in open space. That's something they're looking at. We have a whole list of different parcels for open space, and that's something I'm going to be keeping in the back of my mind. Kestrel wants to, conserve about like 500 acres of land. What are other options for land that have houses on them that maybe aren't that large, but we could, kind of do a hybrid open space, affordable housing. So that's also in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. And which would also coincide with, can we do it with the regulations that we have on the books? But I don't.
The statewide housing regulations are at least somewhat flexible, give us some flexibility, but.
Yeah. So, but I don't think, people get testy when it comes to their tax dollars, Dan. They don't like sharing them.
Yeah, that would be a tough one, I think.
You are a persuasive guy, though, Dan.
I just throw out ideas.
We'll just.
I didn't say they were good ideas.
We will keep that in mind.
I like to try to make people think about things from different perspectives, because perhaps it may yield a different result. But you just tell me to be quiet.
Oh, no, it's always good to throw stuff at the wall. Something might stick. Yeah.
That's why when you said, "Can I throw a curveball?" we all said, "No."
I brought up actually the open space because that is an idea that they're having in regards to getting some of that 500 acres from like Westhampton or another name. Like that's something that they can do under the umbrella of Kestrel.
Off a lead mine up in that area or whatever.
Yeah. So unless like a nonprofit comes in, I think, and like helps, combine, make it, I don't know. Not when it doesn't sound like that with an actual specific housing trust.
Yeah.
It'd be another avenue we can regionalize. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I think it just might have to be a different vehicle we do it by.
Okay, I made it more complicated. But I will help you make a housing trust. Whatever you need to do to make a housing trust, I'll help you do it.
People and donations. You have any land you want to donate to us, Dan? That would be helpful.
I don't have land.
The webinar, again, they talked about how to raise funds outside of CPA, and they talked about the payment for the inclusionary bylaw in lieu of the 10th house, which we don't really have in our inclusionary bylaw right now. Then land donations. And then they said Amherst has a tax incentive. So I want to look a little bit more. Did we talk about that when we met with Amherst, Jim, about when we went? A tax incentive they use, and I don't know if it's something in lieu of taxes. I need to better understand that. They just kind of mentioned that rapidly. Did you grab that, Joy, from the webinar? Or it was towards the end of the webinar they talked about.
Sorry, what was that? I was reading this.
Oh, sorry. Raising funds outside of CPA for housing. So one being a tax incentive that Amherst uses, one being,
Yeah, actually, yeah, the tax incentive. What else did they say?
well, land donations, and then the inclusionary bylaw that had a payment in lieu of the 10th house or whatever, so.
Yeah,
Which I don't,
and grants.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's things we keep hearing over and over, right? I think when we listen to these are pretty consistent.
Also, like working with I was just reading this little thing about how Worcester bought a piece of land and then Habitat for Humanity came and built an affordable duplex home.
Yeah.
I don't know, working with nonprofits that everyone thinks Habitat for Humanity, they do such they're helping people and they do such good work. And I know the church, the Southampton Congregation Church, used to do a lot with Habitat for Humanity. So just working with nonprofits that people recognize,
Right.
make
You
it a
start,
little softer. Yeah.
you start with the land and you can do that. There's a little
Yeah.
Habitat duplex over on East Street in Easthampton. If you
And-
know what I'm talking about.
There's some down in Northampton on Glendale Road too, as you go north. They're on the left-hand side. There's a couple different little developments there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Valley CDC and Hilltown CDC, those are all nonprofit
Right.
as well. But yeah, it's getting a trust, finding the land.
Keeps coming back to that trust,
Yeah.
which is why we're going to keep this on the agenda as a standing item. Good point. It doesn't hurt to flesh these things out. Good.
Or get a couple curveballs.
Or get some curveballs. I'm
Hey,
gonna
one might be good. Maybe next time I'll come up with a good one.
throw a knuckler at us and really
I was also, talking to Lindsay Sabadosa about affordable housing and setting up. She discussed Grow Food Northampton and how affordable housing had these community gardens and just and setting it up, talking to Valley CDC with them about how we could do something out here in Southampton. I think people would really love something like that. Have a community garden and then, have people looking after the garden. Yeah.
I'm on the United Way. What's the hell's the name of the board? The United Way review for the applications, and we reviewed that application. The United Way paid money for that. So
Yeah.
United Way is a group that you can reach out to for a garden such as that.
Cool. Good to know.
right, because you think of Southampton as a farming community. Who needs a community garden? But if you look, for example, at the units that are right clustered around Cumberland Farms, folks who live there don't have an opportunity to garden.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much opportunity and potential in Southampton, so we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we've met with Hillside CDC, and then Brian has reached out to them. So, I mean, we're in touch with those builders. This woman, it was very interesting. She kind of laid out in the presentation. I'm sorry to go back to that, but just want to share as much as I can. Municipal land, inclusionary bylaw, find a nonprofit builder, and then develop the idea. And she said, until you get the idea, that's number one. And if you have those other things, then you need the idea, then, feasibility study and design permit. She said it's like a 4 or 5 year process once you come up with all those initial parts. So we're not going to have maybe a house in a year, but maybe before I hit 80, we'll have one. So.
Can we put that on the goals, Janet?
Yeah, could you add that to the HPP before
Yes.
Janet turns 80?
Okay, folks. Are there other agenda items that are not listed here, but folks want to review? I'll make sure we give a space for that.
No, I guess the only thing I'm still uncertain of is, I guess, hopefully it all comes together on the 21st when we meet with Ken.
It is a little scary, isn't it? If I could share my anxiety about that, if it doesn't come together, what do we got 24 hours. So,
Yeah, should
I
we
am
reach out
confident.
to him?
well, I'm confident in Ken. I mean, it's not like his first rodeo, but to your point, Sarah, should the reach out be as simple as we're anxious, or can you reassure us, or what?
Yeah,
Or should
where,
we?
where are you with the presentation, Ken? Can you share it with us yet? Do you have a rough outline? You know,
That's a little
That's
more
what
specific.
and I don't mind asking that question. I can shoot Ken an email and just say, hey, I'm pretty busy. I wanted to make sure you have a chance to take a look at it before we meet. Can you send me what you have or whatever?
That's more specific and makes a lot of sense.
Even if it's just a draft right now, if it's not finalized, I'll shoot him an email and see what he has.
I think that would be helpful.
Even if nothing else, it's a reminder and make sure it's on the top of his pile.
That's right. Make sure that he's focused on it. All right. That's cool. Thank you.
I know he has a lot of things on his plate. But.
Okay. Thank you. Other agenda items? The last item then is scheduled next meeting, but is our scheduled next meeting, it's the 21st, right? We don't need to schedule that?
well, that's the work group meeting. I know
Right.
you want to schedule the one for October while
Oh,
we're
the
here?
October, I thought, oh, I see. That's just scheduled in the,
I mean,
so it's the 4th of October is the first Monday.
that's good.
How's that look
with me.
for folks?
Sierra, is that good with you?
Monday. Let me look.
I know you keep the first Monday of every month open for us.
Of course. That's the 4th of October.
Yes.
Yes.
Looks good to me.
So 9/21, 9/22, and
10/4 at 6 p.m.
yeah, great. I still have more flyers. Does anybody want any flyers or have any places that they think they could post them? Any good friends?
We've never had luck at Big Y, right?
Yeah. I mean, the library, Sarah hit the key places in town, so.
Mhm. Other than the retailers across from Big Y,
Did someone reach out to
Red
the
Rock.
Facebook group yet? The Southampton Community Group person?
Yeah, it's up there. We were having a problem with it was just the PDF and it was.
Oh, that's what the PNG was.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So-
Tammy.
We'll send her, Jim's gonna send her the PNG, right? And Robert said he'd continue, because I kind of said, could you post this over the next couple of weeks a few times in Robert Floyd's newsletter, so.
There's
No.
also Adam Howard's community page as well.
Yeah,
FYI.
I could send the PNG file to Adam Howard's and ask him if he would post it, Jim, if that's,
Sure.
I see him up there once in a while.
So if I could review, to me, it felt a little bit open-ended as far as how we were going to approach the churches. I said, I would reach out to them and I could send, like an email with the flyer, but then there was some additional conversation. So I just want to make sure.
Is this the rental assistance program, Jim?
Yes, I'm switching
okay.
back to that. Sorry. Are folks okay with that? Or I thought some other folks said, well, we can do this and this.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's great.
If you send it to me, I can put it in my church bulletin.
Sure.
So Jim,
That's a weird sound.
Where is that coming from?
Joy, I think that's you.
Joy, you're breaking up if that's you or you sound like a piano, one or the other.
Yeah, you're frozen, Joy.
She froze up, yeah. Maybe.
Sorry. Now she's muted.
So, oh, okay, so I'll do Adam Howard for the community meeting. And then we can follow up with him on the rental assistance maybe after the community meeting. Because that's a lot of stuff all at once this week,
Right.
so.
Right. I think the churches were separate. I didn't know that we were going to go to the
I
church.
muted myself.
You coming back?
Sorry, I'm in a hot spot.
Still having trouble hearing you, Joy. Sorry.
She's muted though, so I'm not sure how.
I think she just
You know what?
unmuted for a second.
Maybe if we all mute ourselves, that happens. I find that sometimes on Microsoft Teams, if you mute enough people. Go ahead, Joy, if you can hear me.
I can't hear anything that you guys are hearing.
Okay, we're having trouble hearing you, and I suggested that the folks mute themselves to see if that helped. Is it helping?
I don't have any issues hearing or seeing any of you.
Well, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear you now. We couldn't
Okay,
before.
I'll leave my camera off,
Okay.
and I was not saying anything. Next time I'll bring Ouija board.
Fair
You
enough.
broke up a lot during the meeting too, Joy, so.
I'm sorry. We're still
No.
working on getting
okay.
internet here.
It's no big deal. I just want to make sure we don't lose any of your points. That's my
Right.
thing.
Okay. I think we're good. So I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, I'll second then.
All right. We'll have a voice vote in favor of adjourning.
Simmons, aye.
Kane, I.
Senior.
Sierra and I stare at each other, see who's going to speak first.
I know, it's so hard. There's no way to know.
Awesome job, folks.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone. See you next
Talk to
week.
you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.